Hello, I assume you're here because you want to learn how to overcharge cheese Scythe of Amon with Alarak. So here we go. The pros of this method is that it can reliably take out the far slivers without risking army losses. So you can just use a warp prism plus a probe and some pylons and a havoc, and you can take out an entire area, entire sliver, and your army can still defend at home. You can also use this in many mutations, even ones in custom game, although it's not very good against some environmental mutators. Nevertheless, it's good to have this strategy in case you need it. Cons. It's not very fast, so this method is not like Manx's where you can kind of use it to speed run the map and beat it quickly. Also, it's very costly if you mess up, so if you don't practice this a lot, you might make some mistakes and you won't be able to kill the sliver as a result. The preferred prestige to use is P2 because this allows you to use Empower Me for every attack wave in the late game. You can defend against them. This is good against Avenger, things like that. P3 is also fine because Mothership can help you deal damage in case your overcharges aren't enough. So I'll show you with an example later. You can one base this, but if you want to expand, that's fine. For many more difficult mutations, it might be easier to just use one base because you're only defending one spot. When you're defending at home, you just use Alarak and your army. So everything is just kind of sitting there. If you choose to expand, you should keep your army at the expo for the waves after 12:30, and then when the waves spawn, you can see where they come from. If they come from the left, you attack. If they come from the north, then walk your way back to the main. The preferred sliver order is first attack the expo one at 6, you sneak a probe around the back, then you attack the 12 or 11 using the snipe method. You can attack 8 as well, doesn't matter. I don't really have a preference. The order doesn't matter so much for 8, 11, and 12 because if you do it right, you'll just kill everything regardless. However, if you're just practicing, you might want to leave the 8 o'clock sliver for later because you can use your army to assist you if necessary. First, you want to take out the middle one by sneaking a probe into the back. So you see around like 150, you can start walking. And you walk all the way until you see this line, and then you go around the line. Don't move too close to these buildings or else they'll see you. As long as the enemy doesn't have speed freaks, you should be able to outrun them even if they see you. So you just kind of walk around, and then when you have vision of this sliver, you just build a pylon. Then, when the first attack wave comes, you can overcharge. So the wave will hit around 320. You overcharge the pylon, and then you can deal some damage to the sliver. Then wait till Alarak comes out. And when Alarak comes out, then you can overcharge a second time to finish it off. You don't want to overcharge right when you get a chance because you're not going to deal enough damage to finish it off. If the first wave comes from the north, you can stall with buildings until Alarak comes out, or you can just use an overcharge, then get a few units and bring Alarak and these units to attack the center sliver with Empower Me and one more overcharge. Afterwards, you will get ready to go sniping. So at home, you get all your Havoc upgrades and you do not use overcharges anymore because you'll be using all of them on offense. Put 2 probes in your Warp Prism, then you fly around the edge of the map. First you fly to the bottom left, then go up the left side. Do not go around from the right side. You can have a second prism with probes and a havoc in case the first one goes down. So you can have a backup. It's nice to have some backup just for some peace of mind. When you attack the sliver, you fly in from the top left and you see that around each sliver there's this like circle. So you fly anywhere around this to this yellow line. Don't want to go in too far. And then you siege the war prism and then you overcharge it. Then you will drop your invisible havoc to clear brute lords and nearby rifts first. Brute lords because if you don't and you drop a probe, the probe will get hit by broodlings and then it might die. Also, you're gonna waste time and then the brute lord will like throw another pair of broodlings. That's not good. After everything's cleared, then you drop a probe and then you build 1 to 2 pylons and then you overcharge them and go back in. Then you maneuver your havoc to get vision of the sliver. So when you're doing this, you pay attention to 2 things. 1, these white dots, which is the range of your overcharge, and this red line, which is the Havoc lock-on. The range of overcharge is important because you want to just get vision of the sliver and nothing else. The more you see, the more overcharge will want to waste shots on other things that are inconsequential. The Havoc lock-on is there to ensure that the sliver takes extra damage. The Havoc not only adds damage, but it also acts as a spotter for the overcharge because you won't have enough vision since your building's kind of far away. You want the invisible Havoc to be able to spot for the pylons that are building and for the War Prism that is already overcharged. Here's an example. Here, I'm gonna look around, look for any Death Grip crystals. None here. So, good. And then you see this, the white dots, that's the extent of the range of the overcharge. And here, 3 overcharges should be enough to kill Sliver because each overcharge does 4,000 something damage, and I have 3 of them. Sometimes they'll shoot at other stuff, but that's why I gotta make up for it with like overkill. Next, each of the slivers has a different ability, and I'll show you what to do against each one. So against lightning, once you realize it's lightning, you should try your best to pay attention to what's going on at the attack. Because if you don't, what you'll see is, oh, where's my Havoc? Oh, luckily I had a second one. And then I decided to go back and do something else, and then Havoc dies again. You do not want your Havoc to die. So you want to control your Havoc to make sure that it can dodge the lightning as much as possible. Against Death Grip crystals, you want to make sure you clear the area first. You don't know whether it's Death Grip crystals or not. So here's a bad example of what happens if you don't clear the area first. This is a little too close, and you can see like there are too many enemies to hit. So it's better to go in from a little bit further, like top left, a better angle, so you can kill these rifts and the Brute Lord. So now I'm wasting so much time killing like the units that don't really matter. And this gives the Death Grip crystals enough time to come out, and they grab my stuff. Luckily, I was able to take it out so I could build the pylons. But there's another Death Grip crystal, and I couldn't see where it was. So if you don't know where it is, you can't really get rid of it. It turns out it was down there, and it was too late. Now my Havoc died, my Prism died, now I have no vision, and I can't finish it off. So this was very bad. So this is what you should do. This is fighting the same base. Here you come in from the top left. You overcharge, take out the rifts, take out the Brute Lords. You can see the crystals spawn, but you can take them out. Then after they're gone, you move a little bit closer. Now 3 overcharges should take out the sliver. One mistake I made was not having the Havoc closer so you don't see the red line, but I had enough damage anyway, so it was fine. Against the pink stun, you don't have to do much because the pink stun doesn't do anything. Having 2 probes is really good right there, just in case, but you can see like you could kind of stay right outside the pink stun range and you'll still won't get hurt. So yeah, pink stun is really weak. For the first sliver, you can use 1 charge an army or 2 charges. I talked about both of these earlier. For the second one, you should be able to take it out with just 2, but you can have a third just in case. For the third one, you probably need 3. For the fourth one, you will need 3. And for the last one, you'll need 3 plus an army. If you're using P3, you can use Motherships and Destroyer to deal the last bit of damage if necessary. For any prestige, you can also just Warp in Slayers. You should get their upgrades, and then you deal the last bit of damage. What do you do in case you don't have enough damage? So the first thing is you can Warp in Slayers. Here you can see that the sliver didn't go down, and I didn't want to use a second overcharge because that means I would have to waste more time. So I just went in, three Slayers, take it out, and then done. Alternatively, you can use a Mothership. So you can see here, I used all 3 charges. shooting things. I was using Overcharges, but because they're reanimators and I wasted some shots, I realized I'm not gonna do enough damage. So I moved the mothership into position to warp in some units, and then teleport, and then deal the last damage, and took it out. Here, even though I lost the mothership, it's much better to lose the mothership than to not kill the sliver, because if you don't kill the sliver, you're just gonna run out of time. For the final sliver, you will move in with the prism and overcharges to weaken the defenses. Then you can all in with your army, preferably with an empower me. However, if an attack wave is coming from the north, don't attack because you might run into them and then they might somehow stop you. It's possible. If you attack right when the announcement is made, maybe it's fine. But if you're like waiting for empower me and then they come at the same time, it might be a problem. If the attack wave comes from the west, or if there's no attack wave at all, then you can do this. So here's an example of attacking from the left side. So use all the charges, and then Alarak has empower me, and just go in, right click the sliver. Alternatively, if you want, you can also go from the main. I could have moved the Havoc or put him back into the prison, but I didn't. I definitely recommend getting the Slayer upgrades just in case you need like last minute power. And that's it. So good luck with your sniping. Practice this a lot, and then as you practice more and more, you'll get better at this, and this will become kind of like second nature. So another useful strategy to have in your arsenal.